I defined a new scale that is now called the Loeb scale, where 0 implies a purely natural object. On October 13, 2025, the sky went silent, then blinked. Two observatories, continents apart, captured identical bursts of light emerging from behind the sun's shadow. The source 3I-ATLAS, the interstellar object that had already defied physics once before. The pattern of the flashes wasn't random. It followed the Fibonacci sequence, nature's mathematical signature, the ratio that shapes galaxies, shells, and the rhythm of life itself. Coincidence? Or was something out there sending a message through numbers older than humanity? The night of the pulses. At 241 UTC, both the Cerro Tolo Inter-American Observatory in Chile and the Mount Abu Infrared Observatory in India detected faint rhythmic light emissions coming from the direction of the sun's far side. The pulses appeared as short bursts, 3 groups evenly spaced with intervals of 5, 8, and 13 seconds. On their own, they could have been dismissed as cosmic rays, interference, or internal reflection within solar imaging equipment. But when both observatories independently reported identical readings within seconds of each other, the coincidence vanished. Telemetry confirmed the pulses originated from a single moving point near the trajectory previously occupied by 3I-ATLAS, which had disappeared behind the sun weeks earlier. The emissions were visible across optical and near-infrared bands consistent with controlled light modulation rather than random reflection. Even more striking was the timing. October 13th wasn't just any day. It marked the 108th anniversary of the miracle of the sun at Fatima in 1917. An event during which tens of thousands witnessed the sun appear to dance and shimmer unnaturally in the sky. Within hours, the discovery hit social media. The account at UAP Watchers posted 3I-AT sends Fibonacci light pulses on Fatima anniversary. Coincidence or cosmic communication? The post spread rapidly. Hashtags like #AtlasSignal and #FatimaPulse trended across platform. Within 24 hours, observatories worldwide scrambled to verify the readings. Some confirmed faint echoes, others detected nothing at all. But the timing, the exact intervals of 5, 8, and 13 seconds was undeniable. The Fibonacci sequence wasn't just mathematical. It was biological, astronomical, and aesthetic. It governed the spirals of galaxies, the arrangement of leaves, even the proportions of the human body. For many, this was more than physics. It was symbolism written in light. And somehow it had come from an object that shouldn't even be visible. The double confirmation in scientific terms: a single observation is curiosity. A second independent confirmation becomes data. That's what made the October 13th incident impossible to dismiss. Two observatories separated by nearly half the globe recorded identical pulse sequences within the same 1-minute window. Both facilities used unrelated instrumentation, different atmospheric conditions and unconnected tracking system. Yet the same 3 bursts following the 5th of August, 13 pattern appeared in each dataset. At Cerro Tolo in Chile, the photometric sensors captured the pulses at 24113, 24118, and 24,131 UTC, perfectly aligned with the Fibonacci spacing ratio when converted to seconds. On the other side of the planet, the Mount Abu Observatory's thermal imaging array registered mirrored spikes in its infrared spectrum synchronized within 0.04 seconds of Tolo's data. The odds of such alignment being caused by chance interference or cosmic background radiation were astronomically small, roughly 1 in 10 to the power of 9. The pulse pattern repeated 3 times over the next 6 minutes before vanishing completely. No follow-up emissions were detected. Every other object in the sky remained normal. The data, once cross-compared, left researchers with a stark choice. Either both observatories experienced simultaneous identical instrumental error or something intelligent was transmitting a mathematical sequence from beyond the sun. NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory, which could have verified the emissions directly, went offline for scheduled maintenance exactly 3 hours before the event. HiRISE, the high-resolution imager on Mars, had also been down since the start of October. The coincidence was glaring. 2 of the most capable instruments for observing solar-adjacent space had been disabled during the precise window of anomaly. When the twin observatories released their findings privately, senior officials urged caution, labeling it a temporal correlation anomaly, but off-record discussions called it what everyone was thinking: a message transmitted through light using the universal language of mathematics. The Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. For those who understood the mathematics, the sequence detected 5813 wasn't arbitrary. It was part of the Fibonacci series, a numerical pattern where each number equals the sum of the two before it. The ratio between consecutive Fibonacci numbers approaches phi approximately 1.618, known as the golden ratio. The mathematical fingerprint of natural growth and structural harmony. It appears in the spirals of galaxies, the curvature of sea shells, the arrangement of sunflower seeds, and even the proportions of DNA held. If the pulses from 3I-ATLAS truly followed 58113 intervals, then they represented more than data. They reflected a code written in the same mathematical structure underlying the universe itself. No culture, no language, no biology could misunderstand it. The Fibonacci pattern is both cosmic and universal. Physicists reviewing the photometric curves noted that each burst corresponded to an exponential amplitude scaling. The light wasn't just blinking. It was increasing in luminosity according to the same ratio 1 to 1.6 to 2.6 before fading to zero. The energy distribution matched logarithmic spiral symmetry, a form found in black holes, supernova, and hurricanes alike. That precise scaling across distance, frequency, and intensity could not be random. Even solar reflections, gravitational lensing, or interference patterns failed to reproduce such structured progression in simulation. To behave that way, a source would have to modulate its brightness intentionally. To some scientists, it hinted at communication, an attempt to speak through the most basic constant shared across life and matter. To others, it symbolized something deeper, that perhaps 3I-ATLAS or whatever controlled it was mirroring the architecture of creation itself. Mathematics is the same in every corner of the cosmos. And now for the first time it seemed to be speaking back. The Fatima connection, the date of the pulses October 13, 2025, wasn't merely a random point on a calendar. It marked the 108th anniversary of the miracle of the sun, one of the most debated celestial events in recorded history. On October 13, 1917, tens of thousands gathered in Fatima, Portugal, after reports that the Virgin Mary would appear. Witnesses described the sun as dancing, spinning like a disc, and plunging toward Earth before retreating again. For believers, it was divine intervention. For scientists, an optical illusion amplified by atmospheric refraction. Now, more than a century later, another light phenomenon appeared. This time, not from our sun, but from an interstellar visitor hidden behind it. The coincidence was uncanny. The same date, the same theme. A celestial body performing impossible light movements. For many, the parallel was impossible to ignore. Social networks flooded with comparisons. Religious commentators drew lines between the miracle of the sun and the Fibonacci pulses, calling them the continuation of a cosmic message delayed by a century. Astrophysicists avoided such language, but quietly noted that the synchronization between Earth's orbital alignment and the object's solar opposition created an optical geometry nearly identical to that of 1917's event. Both scenarios involved light bending near the sun's corona at low incident angles. Perfect conditions for reflective or directed emission. The symbolism deepened when David Serida's analysis pointed out that 5, 8, and 13 also align with harmonic resonances in his hyperdimensional solar model. In that model, those numbers correspond to Earth 5, a hypothetical domain called Dominions 8, and a deep cosmic layer termed Virtues 13. Names drawn from angelic hierarchies. It was difficult to determine whether the connection was deliberate or coincidental, but one fact was undeniable. Both events, Fatima and 3I-ATLAS, shared the same date, the same symbolism, and the same inexplicable control over light. To some, it was science meeting faith again, this time through a telescope. The shutdown of the solar feed. The first sign that something unusual was unfolding came not from the observatories, but from NASA's own systems. In the early hours of October 13, the Solar Dynamics Observatory, SDO, the satellite responsible for 24-hour monitoring of solar activity, entered scheduled maintenance. Its live feed, which had run continuously for nearly a decade, suddenly went offline. At first, this seemed routine. Spacecraft often undergo recalibrations and solar observation is delicate work, but the timing was extraordinary. The maintenance began just hours before 3I-ATLAS's pulses were detected and continued throughout the event. When the feed returned 2 days later, the missing data window was conspicuously absent from the archive. Adding to suspicion, the high-rise imaging system aboard the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, one of humanity's sharpest eyes in space, had also gone down for technical review since October 1. The downtime overlapped perfectly with the period during which the object moved behind the Sun. Two of the most advanced imaging platforms capable of observing the same region of space were dark at the exact moment an interstellar object allegedly emitted structured light pulses. No public explanation was ever given. NASA's press releases mentioned routine calibration, but internal logs showed an irregular command override during the blackout period. Independent data scrapers monitoring the SDO feed confirmed that telemetry packets were withheld in real time, not missing due to failure. Someone or something had turned the feed off deliberately. For the online scientific community, this blackout became the smoking gun. Forums filled with speculation that the space agencies had detected the pulses first and pulled the streams to prevent live verification. Others suggested they were caught off guard and reacted defensively, choosing silence over uncertainty. Either way, the shutdown reinforced a chilling impression. The agencies weren't merely unaware of what happened, they were hiding it, and in the absence of transparency, the silence spoke louder than any official statement could. David Serida's harmonic analysis. When independent researchers began decoding the pulse data, one interpretation rose above the noise. David Serida, an engineer and harmonic theorist known for linking mathematics with cosmology, claimed that the light pattern from 3I-ATLAS aligned with his long-developed hyperdimensional solar model. In that framework, every planet and major orbital boundary resonates within specific harmonic bands, frequencies that mirror mathematical constants woven into the structure of space-time itself. Serida's analysis treated the 5th of August, 13 pulse pattern not as a numerical signal, but as a frequency map. The numbers, he argued, corresponded to 3 harmonic domain. The 5th to Earth's orbital resonance, the 8th to an interplanetary equilibrium zone beyond Mars, and the 13th to a distant harmonic shell near Jupiter's gravitational field. Each layer, he wrote, reflected a nested order of consciousness and geometry. According to his interpretation, 3I-ATLAS wasn't communicating through radio or optics, but through resonant modulation, brief flashes carrying harmonic energy across spatial boundaries. He compared it to striking a tuning fork in one part of the solar system and hearing its echo resonate across another. The Fibonacci pattern in this sense wasn't symbolic. It was structural. The timing amplified the meaning. The event occurred on a date already linked to a historical solar miracle, amplifying what Serida called the centennial harmonic of illumination. To him, that convergence, mathematical, astronomical, and spiritual, represented intentional synchronization, a moment where the geometry of creation and an interstellar messenger briefly aligned. Mainstream physicists dismissed the theory as coincidence wrapped in mysticism. Yet even they acknowledged that the numerical ratios embedded in the pulse data matched orbital resonances too precisely to ignore. Whether by design or chance, Serida's analysis reframed the event from anomaly to architecture, a reminder that numbers, when patterned through light, could become the universe's own form of speech. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.